Hey, it's Gurj and Sandeep here from Dr. Print, and today we're going to help you tackle every marketeer's worst nightmare, which is creating the promotional flyer. So if you haven't already downloaded your free copy, you'll see a link at the bottom of this email. When you download it, it looks a little bit something like this. It's the 6 secrets behind creating a flyer that people will actually read.
Yeah, flyers, well, millions of these go around the UK, and I'm sure we all receive them at home and at work. But they'll come in different shapes and sizes, so you can have anything from a simple A6 double-sided flyer to a flyer that is printed and folded or creased, all up to an A4 flyer and anything above and in between, really. But where does somebody begin with creating a flyer, Gurj?
So our advice is actually to keep things very simple. I think the biggest challenge when producing a flyer is making sure that people actually pick it up and read it so that it draws attention to them. Now you might be tasked with producing an eye-catching or an interesting flyer. You might be the marketing manager there, you might be one of the people that work within sales and you've been tasked with it, but there's a few kind of simple and easy steps that you can use to create a flyer, whether you're using that exhibition or as a direct mail campaign.
And how would you say somebody should get started with it, Gurj?
So whatever it might be, there's a few simple tricks that you can use. I think the first one is fonts.
With regards to fonts, if you just look on something simple like Word on your Mac or your PC, you'll see that you've got access to hundreds of fonts. Professional design packages like Adobe Illustrator or InDesign, there's a much wider variety of fonts, but despite the fact there are thousands of fonts out there, I'd say keep it really simple and keep the fonts relevant to the copy or the message that you're trying to convey. Don't go crazy, don't use fonts like Comic Sans, don't use too many different sizes, just really keep things simple and on trend.
Cool. And what about making things stand out? So you've got a simple font, but how can you make things stand out on a page then?
Really easy. Just make things bold. I know it sounds almost too simple and almost too easy to believe, but you don't need to put inverted commas where it's not necessary, or you don't need to change sizes too much. Just make things bold. So words like free, offer, and the call to actions, just by making them bold, will make them stand out.
Okay, and what about your advice on using photographs and images? Obviously we see a lot of flyers here, and some of them have got good images, other ones they could be better, they're quite pixelated. So what's your advice on that?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that you can do with regards to images. You can either use royalty-free stock images using the relevant licenses. There's some great images out there, some great packages out there, or alternatively, and probably the best way with images is to take your own. If you're good with the camera and you know what you're doing, then definitely take your own images. If not, hire a professional. A picture paints 1,000 words, and it really can when you're using your own images.
Perfect. What about in terms of text? Not the type of text, but how much text should you have on a flyer? Is there ever a case where you've got too much text on a flyer?
Yeah, that's a really good point there, Gurj. Some people can overload flyers with a lot of text, and again, the trend these days, we're consuming video, we're reading shorter blogs. Newspapers, people aren't reading newspapers like they used to, so the attention span is a lot shorter. So we'd say keep things punchy and direct, and keep your message clear. There's no point in overloading a flyer with blocks of text because people just won't read it, so don't do that.
So it's almost like using the same strategy that you're using online, so creating kind of micro content. If you use that same strategy when you're creating flyers as well, you think that would probably work better nowadays?
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Perfect. And importantly, colour, and we're in the business of colour basically. What are your thoughts on how to vary up colour on flyers or anything that you might be designing?
Yeah, colour's a massive thing, and it's unbelievable how many people get it wrong. It's really like painting a room. You can totally get the mix of colours wrong, and you end up with a room that looks horrible, something that looks too dark. It's the same thing with a flyer. use colours that complement, or there's a direct contrast. So don't use too many dark colours on a flyer, because guess what, your message won't stand out. That's not to say you need to use full colour all the time. Sometimes you can create an effective flyer just using a single colour, or just using black and white images or black and white text. It's all about how the colour or the message or the graphics look on a flyer. I would say that's probably the most important thing.
Perfect. And last but not least, I would say layout. Obviously, you know, you can see the flyers that you showed up. You know, they're all laid out differently.
They are.
So is there a best way to lay out a flyer?
No, there isn't a perfect layout for a flyer, but there are some basic rules that, you know, we should all really be following. The headline is probably one of the most important things you can put on the flyer, because that's the first thing people are going to see. There's no point in having your company name big and bold, because people that you're sending your flyer out the first time, they're not really interested in who they're dealing with at that stage. They're more interested in the product or the service. So let's get the headline right first, and then obviously tell people about your service, have great images, get testimonials on there, and then obviously put the call to action. So I would really say that's probably the right order to create a flyer.
Perfect. So there you have it. There's 6 simple steps there, you know, for creating a promotional flyer that people will actually read. I've been Gurj. This is Sandeep. Obviously, if you need any help, you know, feel free to drop us a comment, and you know, we'll endeavour to get back to you as quickly as possible. Obviously, leave your comments and feedback on the video as well, and hopefully we can create more content to help you with, you know, any problems that you might have with your marketing, any questions you might have about print. We're happy to help.